For our second topic today, we are going to talk about completing the square. So big picture overall, so our goal is to solve quadratic equations by completing the square and applying the square root property. Section 1, we learned how to apply the square root property. Section 2, we're going to learn how to complete the square. And then Section 3, we'll put it all together. So for Section 2, to example 1, so the directions are to fill the blank. So we have x squared plus 12x plus box. And we want to figure out what box is. So before we do that, how do we complete the square? So let's look over here and let's look at the step 3. So step 3 breaks down completing the square. You want to add the square of 1/2 the linear term coefficient to both sides. So in this case, since this is an expression, we don't have to add both sides, but essentially you want to get 1/2 b quantity squared. Okay, so completing the square, so first, before we do that, let's talk about a, b, and c. So we have this ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So we know a. So since we don't see a number here, the coefficient is 1. B is the number attached to x, which is 12, and c is the number we are looking for. So what are we going to do? So we want to find c, right? How do we do that? We're going to take this b. We're going to use 1/2 b quantity squared. You can also, this is also the same as saying b divided by b over 2 quantity squared. So if I take this, so we're going to take 12, we're going to divide it by 2, and then we're going to square it. So 12 divided by 2, that is 6. So this is 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. So this box, the blank, is equal to 36. Now, how can we check our work? If we completed the square properly, then this expression, you should be able to factor it into a perfect square. So let's check our work. So we're claiming that the blank is 36. So maybe I'll do red for checking work. Right? So let's factor this. So what two numbers multiply to be 36 and add to be 12? But if we look, so if we're thinking about the perfect square trinomial, what is it? It is a plus or minus b quantity squared, and that is equal to a squared plus or minus 2ab plus b squared. This should always happen. So let's look at this a term, and let's see, what is the square root of a? Or is this term a perfect square? It is, because x times x is x squared. And let's look at the last term, which is 36, and see if that's a perfect square. And it is, because 6 times 6 is 36. Now in the middle, we want to check, so we want to see 2ab, which is 2 times x times 6, which is 12x. So this works as well. Because it satisfies the formula, we know that this is x plus 6 quantity squared. And this is how we know that we completed the square correctly, because we were able to factor it into a perfect square. So we're going to do another example, because I know completing the square can be tricky. So let's go over it again. This time, we want to fill in the blank for x squared minus 4x plus box. Right? So what are we going to do? We're going to take this term right here, and we're going to take the coefficient of it. So we want to take b. B, in our case, is -4, because remember, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. Right? So because this b is positive, so this would be rewritten. Let me erase this. This is the same as saying x squared plus negative 4x plus box, right? And that is why b is equal to negative 4. So what are we going to do with this b? We're going to plug it into this b over 2 quantity squared. Right? So good thing that I just learned. So you just take this linear term, divide it by 2, and then square it. So we're going to take negative 4, we're going to divide it by 2, which is negative 2, and then we're going to square it, which is positive 4. So box is equal to 4. Now we're going to check our work to see if we're correct. So getting a different color, we have x squared minus 4x, and we're saying this box is 4. Can we factor this out? Can this be a perfect square? And we know we're going to be negative because this b is this is negative. So let's check this term. So x squared, is it a perfect square? Yes, because x times x is x squared. We're going to look at the last term, 4. Is that a perfect square? Yes as well, because 2 times 2 is 4. Now we're going to do our final check, and we're going to look at the minus 2ab. So this is minus 2 times x times 2, which is negative 4x. And that is the exact same as the middle term right here. So we can factor this as x minus 2 quantity squared. So this is how we know that this is our answer. And that is how you complete the square.